Hello everyone, this is Naresh IAS Academy digital platform for the IAS mains exam. Now I am going to discuss next topic on second paper, and today I will discuss issues related to poverty and hunger. One of the most topics, because UPSC's regular asking questions from this topic, and this is my effort to cover GS paper 2 in short. You may contact for offline classes or our answer writing session. This is my effort to cover the entire question paper in 20 videos, and mostly I am providing information how to cover, how to study, how to analyze this topic. The topic is poverty and hunger. I will analyze the topic in the three categories. One is scale or the determination, in which I will discuss the calorie formula and the income method. Second is relations of poverty with unemployment. Starvation and malnutrition. And last, the alleviation schemes and their approach. Okay, you can classify or analyze the topic in this way, so that each aspect will be discussed separately. Simply, what do you mean by the poverty and who is a poor person? Any person do not have a sufficient income or money to arrange basic facility to survive. This is a problem to determine the level of poverty in India. From the past, when Government of India started 5-year plans, and the different economists of India suggested the government to determine poverty, and initially by the economists Dandekar and Rath, then Lakdawala expert group, or finally the Suresh Tendulkar economist suggested the different wage or scales for the determination of poverty. So this is the one of the most important aspect of the topic. In the previous year exams, UPSC generally have asked how to determine the poverty in India or at the global level. Initially, the calorie formula was fixed for the determination, and it was estimated any person living in the rural area do not have 2400 calories, and in urban area, if he do not have 2100 calories, so definitely he is considered poor person. The calorie formula mainly undermine the education, housing, health facilities, vehicles and the others. It simply emphasizes over how to take the calories in rural or urban areas, and the formula was continued till the 2009, and when the Suresh Tendulkar economist suggested Government of India to leave the scale, because so many international agencies or developed country criticize the India to leave the scale. Since the 2009 multi-poverty index formula have been taken, and this is mainly depends upon the UNDP international agency which determines poverty and the human development index. The MPI formula includes the various factors, and Suresh Tendulkar defines the living of cost, how much money a person requires to survive for 1 month, for 1 year or for a long. So, this is a basket of goods to survival of the peoples, and how can a person manage or arrange or buy a basket of goods, and definitely it requires a income. The second is the income based methods for the determination of poverty in India. Definitely it is a actual scale, because it is generally assumed if a person has a sufficient income or monetary power, definitely he can arrange education, health facilities, housing, vehicles and food and the other needs. So, the income formula have the two dimension. One is, if the person has the higher level of income, then there is no matter of the poverty, but the income level is very low, so definitely it increase the intensity of the poverty. Simply when we determine the 2000 rupee for each person for 1 month, how can a person survive with the 2000 rupees for arranging the so many goods for survival, and a person spent only 1000 rupees per month, and a person spent only 500 rupees per month for arranging all these goods. Definitely we can say this is the incidence of poverty. The 2000 income line categorize the peoples and the 1000 or 6000 categories, and the intensity in the 600 is more than the 1000, the 2000. The Amartya Sen, Nobel laureate or Indian economist, mainly who defines the intensity of poverty on the basis of income. So, in India and throughout the world, the income based methods are used for the determination, because they are generally assumed as the scientific manners. So, when the income method is decreases, definitely it increase the intensity of poverty. So, one is the, you have to define the or understand the various scales of determination in India, and for a long it have been a debatable question before the Indian government or the Indian economists, and since the 2009 it have resolved completely, because we are following the MPI formula which is based upon the UNDP. Second is the relationship, how the poverty is related with the different dimensions. Relationship of poverty with the unemployment. Generally we can say if a person is unemployed, definitely he must be a poor person too. But the unemployment, or a person is unemployed, it means simply he belongs to age group 15 to 60 or 65. Below the age of 15 or above the age of 60 or 65 are not the unemployed people, they are the dependent population. So, the concept of unemployment only applicable within the age criteria 15 to 60 or sometime 65. And generally we can say, if a person is unemployed, definitely he has no income, and if he has no income or monetary power, definitely he cannot arrange or manage the basic facilities for the survival. So this is the direct relationship. Unemployment increases the problems of poverty. If there is least unemployment, definitely the matter of poverty is not too much considerable. Then you have to define the relationship between them. Second, the starvation and malnutrition. You know, so many international agencies have published their annual reports, and in these reports they have published the actual position of starvation and malnutrition in India. And you must know, and very surprising, India has the highest rank in the starvation and malnutrition. The matter of these problems is higher than the most of countries of African continent too. So definitely it is a question mark before the Indian economy and the Indian government and before the prestige of India. So if a person is poor, definitely he is suffering problems of starvation and malnutrition. The poverty is directly linked with the starvation and malnutrition. Millions of peoples in India are living under these circumstances. So poverty affects the starvation. And the next is schemes, the various schemes. Now you have to understand, union government and the state governments have launched so many schemes for the alleviation of unemployment and poverty. But the most of schemes have targeted the unemployment, because through the unemployment we can indirectly remove the question of poverty and the starvation. But recently it have analyzed the schemes of the union or state governments have not completely successful due to the weak political will. What is the political willpower? Political willpower means what? In India, when any scheme is launched for targeting a certain communities, for example the unemployed peoples of a certain states or a community residing in a specific states, definitely it must be, when the scheme is introduced, then it should be analyzed and government should take feedback within a 6 month or within a year. But in India, since the last 50 or 60 years, no schemes have analyzed scientifically. Government have not taken the feedbacks. So this is the weak political willpower in India. In the private sectors, when any scheme is introduced or launched, definitely the scheme could successful due to the analysis or feedback. When they take feedback, they analyze the drawbacks and shortcomings of scheme. But in India, it is simply hypothetically assumes, and governments either merge the scheme with the another scheme, or sometime it is stopped and government introduce the new scheme merging with the old schemes. So then this is a important matter. How can we increase the political willpower? Definitely this cannot be done by me or by yourself. Government is run by the specific political parties or the different political parties. They have authorities, they have money power, they have the legal power. So this is directly accountability or responsibility of the governments. So how can we increase the political willpower? It must be through the government itself. Governments should adopt the mechanism of private corporation or the capitalist economy. How the private corporation are progressively running and how they are running different schemes and how they are working. So simply it is said the corporate governance, their ethics, their principle must be invest into the public sector or the government sector. And the another way is in India we must enhance or we must able the civil societies, role of civil societies, NGOs, and they should pressurize the government to take a important decision in this regard. But finally, this depends upon the governments. Civil society simply can suggest, can raise the different issues, can bring the drawbacks of the scheme. Finally, the decision authority is the governments. If the government has the least willpower, then there is no way for the successful of the schemes. So then government should adopt the corporate governance, concept of the ethical governance, and the authorities working under the governance system must be accountable. Their accountancy must be determined. If they are not taking accountability, so they immediately terminated or dismissed from the system and they must be heavily punished. Second, recently the another aspect is the government of India or the different state governments through the budget allocate the resources or money for the running of different schemes. And you know, year by year government increase the size of their budgets, but the allocation to the social sector like education, health, sanitation, water supply or schemes for the poor peoples, they are not getting the too much revenue from the budget. While when we compare this amount with the other sectors, definitely there is a large gap. So then we can say in the simple words, government is willingly reducing or decreasing amount over the social sectors or allocation of resources over these schemes. On the one hand, we have seen the international agencies have published the actual position of starvation, malnutrition in India. India is the highest rank in the world. And on the other hand, government is reducing the money or revenue for running the schemes. So definitely we are pushing India into a severe condition. So then it must be concernable before the government, and government reconsider this. Government's logic simply is that we have a big revenue deficit and the fiscal deficit, and we have so many international liabilities. Our foreign debts, the size of foreign debt is increasing, so we are not able to running these schemes. Then how can we make India a superpower or developed country with these problems? It is not possible. Definitely government should take help from the private sector or the corporations, and government through the indirect way by providing responsibility to the corporation or through the foreign investors enlarge the Indian economy. The size of public sector cannot be increased. It is between the 3 to 4%. Only 3 to 4% people can get government job in India. More than 95% people are working in the private sector. So this is a way we have to enlarge our economic activities. We have to stand a series of factories or industries just like America, Germany, Japan, and we should produce more job opportunity to the Indian people. If we have successful to enlarge our Indian economies, definitely we can provide job to each peoples. If any person have sufficient job opportunity, definitely he is a employed person. If person is employed, then he is not a poor person. If he is not a poor person, definitely there is no matter of starvation or malnutrition, because employed person can arrange all the basic facilities for their survival. So this is directly linked. The government should emphasize the capitalist economy, should attract the more foreign direct investment, and government itself to invest in the different sectors. So this may be another way, so that we can drag India from this severe condition, or can India put in a take-off stage towards the developed countries or the superpower. So then you should try to understand the topic in this way. So there are different dimensions. So I hope you are able to understand the various dimensions. Okay, thank you.